touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't roll my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so I didn't think I was coming back, but then I checked my emails and saw that I had Diddy's supervised release information as well as the forfeiture list. And I said I might as well just come on here and give you all the information. But also, hold on, beloveds. I've got too much going on. Okay, so I decided to come on here and give you all that information. But also, I noticed something very interesting when I was reading over the forfeiture list. Okay, I noticed that they asked for Diddy's Ibiza tapes. And I thought, say what? Ibiza tapes. What's this all about? So I just want you all to pay attention because I told you all, I kept telling you all and telling you all and telling you all that there were some tapes that the feds wanted. Don't you all remember that? One's in the chat. Let's get the ones in the chat. All right, let's get the ones in the chat. If you all remember me telling you that there were some tapes that could get some other people in trouble, likely. Now, I didn't know for sure, but I told you that I really felt like there was. I told you all that repeatedly. And then I find it interesting because just last week I was talking to a friend of mine that said, Queen, what about all those tapes you said Diddy had? They didn't say anything about those tapes in court. And I said, yeah, they didn't. They only talked about the 9 freak-off tapes that Cassie gave them. But I think there were some other tapes. And so anyway, now they want the Ibiza tapes. And I know y'all are probably wondering what those are, but don't worry. Don't worry, I got y'all covered because we're going to get into it. Okay, so let's get ready to rumble. All right. Oops, I don't think I was supposed to say that. So anyway, Perplex said, indeed you did, Queen. Okay, thank you. Okay, so hello, we the people. Perplex, of course. G from the land. OG Patrice. DJ Big Six. Claudette. Nessa G. Juju B. All right, bars. All right, let's get into it. Greta Lee said, Queen, you said it. All right, Mel is in his house. Lillian X. All right. Let's get this party started. And shout out to all of my moderators because y'all be putting in work. Okay. And shout out to all of the loyal royals and everyone tuning into the Queen. All right. So let's talk about it. Hey, Ray Williams says, Queen, we used to have this chat fired up and jumping. You already know. Okay. So with that all being said, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the documentation Here we go. Now, Diddy is not going to be on probation. It's actually supervised release. Some people call it probation. It's not the same thing. Probation is what you get in lieu of jail. Okay, so you don't go to jail. Supervised release is what you must perform after you get out of prison. It's your post-prison conditions. All right, and when you're in the feds, you usually have some type of supervised release. Now, the similarity in the two is that you, in each of them, have to report to somebody, okay? So, with that all being said, let's talk about this because I find it all interesting. So, now, as you can see, and hopefully you all can see this, I know it's kind of small, but anywho. Okay, so anyway, it says nature of offense, transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay, count 3 and count 5. All right, those are the 2 counts. And then the defendant is sentenced as provided in pages 2 through 7 of this judgment. The sentence is imposed pursuant to the Sentencing Reform Act of 1984. Okay, and then you have it signed by the judge, and it's dated October the 14th. Okay, so here's what they say. The defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons to be imprisoned for a total term of 50 months. Now they check right here. There's a check mark where it says the court makes the following recommendations to the Bureau of Prisons. Right, the court recommends that the defendant be incarcerated as close as possible to the New York metropolitan area and recommends that the defendant be considered for admission to any available substance abuse program, including the Bureau of Prisons Residential Drug Abuse Program known as RDAP, for which he qualifies. Okay, so they've recommended that. The court has. So that's good for Diddy. Okay, the defendant is remanded to the custody of the United States Marshal. Okay, I'm going to skip past all this. All right, skip past all this. Now, supervised release. Upon release from prison, imprisonment, you will be on supervised release for a term of 5 years. That's usually about the amount of time, because if you all remember Wig 1, aka Vicky Dillard, when I went over her prison records and court records and all of that, she too, after serving her federal time, had to do 5 years. I think she may have only had to do 3 years supervised release, but it's usually about 5. Okay, so here are the mandatory conditions. This is the important part. Number 1, you must not commit another federal, state, or local crime. Okay, number 2, you must not unlawfully possess a controlled substance. Number 3, you must refrain from any unlawful use of a controlled substance, and you must submit to 1 drug test within 15 days of release from imprisonment and at least 2 periodic drug tests thereafter as determined by the court. All right, and so then it has right here, number 5 is checked. Now, they have a myriad of things, but only some of the things are checked. And I will read the ones that are checked just to save time because we don't need to worry about the ones that aren't checked anyway, right? So it says you must cooperate in the collection of DNA as directed by the probation officer. Now, once you become a felon, they start collecting your DNA in case they need to use it for a cold case or some unsolved crime or whatever, or something down the road. Okay, so that's likely what that's all about. You must cooperate in the collection of DNA as directed by the probation officer. Okay, now with that all being said, standard conditions of supervision. Let's talk about it. Now, as part of your supervised release, you must comply with the following standard conditions of supervision. These conditions are imposed because they establish the basic expectations for your behavior while on supervision and identify the minimum tools needed by probation officers to keep informed report to the court about and bring about improvements in your conduct and condition. Okay. Hey, Nicole, beloved. All right. Now, with that all being said, they say you must report to the probation office in the federal judicial district where you are authorized to reside within 72 hours of your release from imprisonment, unless the probation officer instructs you to report to a different probation office or within a different time frame. Now, after initially reporting to the probation office, you will receive instructions from the court on the probation officer about how and when you must report to the probation officer. And you must report to the probation officer as instructed. You must not knowingly leave the federal judicial district when or where you are authorized to reside without first getting permission from the court or the probation officer. You must answer truthfully the questions asked by your probation officer. Okay, are y'all listening? I got to keep checking the screen because I did ask Gavin if he could join me, and he said that he would try. So I'm looking, hoping that he might pop in. Okay, so anywho, you must live at a place approved for by the probation officer. If you plan to change where you live or anything about your living, the living arrangements, such as the people you live with, you must notify the probation officer at least 10 days before the change. Now, if notifying the probation officer in advance is not possible due to unanticipated circumstances, you must notify the probation officer within 24 hours of becoming aware of a change or expected change. This all sounds fair and reasonable thus far. Okay, you must allow the probation officer to visit you at any time at your home or elsewhere. And you must permit the probation officer to take any items permitted by the conditions of your supervision that he or she observes in plain view. So, for example, in plain sight and plain view, well, if they just walk up and you got some Mary Jane sitting right there on the table and you know you're not supposed to have illegal substances, they're going to take that in for evidence. All right, then you'll be going to jail shortly after. Okay, that's how that goes. But of course, Diddy's not going to do any of this because he's going to be taking the RDAP program while he's incarcerated, so he won't have a substance abuse problem once he gets out. Okay, we hope. So with that all being said, you must work full time, at least 30 hours per week. Now, I had to chuckle at that. Okay, are y'all hearing this? Can y'all imagine? Where's Diddy going to work? Where's Diddy going to work? Diddy's going to get a job dancing in videos. Where is Diddy going to work? Diddy has his own businesses. I guess he still has a couple of businesses, at least he should. So, but this is how it is when you get out of prison. They want to make sure that you're actively employed so you can stay out of trouble because they know that idle minds are the devil's workshop. Okay, that's the devil's workshop. Look at Claudette talking about a real job. Yes, a real job where he goes to work, clocks in, works a few hours, and gets paid. Yes, he absolutely has to work, and they're going to make sure. Okay, so they say you must work full time, at least 30 hours per week, at a lawful type of employment, unless the probation officer excuses you from doing so. And if you do not have full time employment, you must find full time employment unless the probation officer excuses you from doing so. If you plan to change where you work or anything about your work, such as your position or your job responsibilities, you must notify the probation officer at least 10 days before the change. Now, if notifying the probation officer at least 10 days in advance is not possible due to unanticipated circumstances, you must notify the probation officer within 72 hours of becoming aware of a change or expected change. Listen, none of this is going to be a problem for Diddy, I don't think, because quite frankly, I'm sure his attorneys are going to have all of this set up before he gets out. Okay, and he's going to get out sooner than y'all expect because we already know that with the time served and taking the RDAP program and all this other stuff and the 85%, he'll probably be out in like 24 months, 2 years. And then, like I said, they're going to be getting all this stuff together and set up for him in the meantime, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so anyway, you must not communicate or interact with someone you know is engaged in criminal activity. If you know someone has been convicted of a felony, you must not knowingly communicate or interact with that person without first getting the permission of the probation officer. If you are arrested or questioned by a law enforcement officer, you must notify the probation officer within 72 hours. You know what? Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Greta said, I agree with Queen. He is not going to do the full time. Okay, Durant said he will work for his twin daughters probably. All right. Here's the thing. Now, where was I? Hold on. I would use this to get rid of people that I just don't want to be bothered with. Like family members who are always begging for extra change or whatever, who don't show up when you need them, but always want you to show up for them. I'm not talking about Diddy's case, but I'm just saying, just as a regular person, okay, that would be a good excuse to get rid of people that are always asking you for something, always getting on your nerves or whatever. Okay, like, look, bro, I can't hang out with y'all no more. Y'all are whole convicted felons. And I'm on probation or I'm under supervised release. So beat it. Okay, that's how that would work out for me. But anyway, let me continue. So, goes on to say you must not communicate or interact with someone you know is engaged in criminal activity. Okay, if you are arrested or questioned by a law enforcement officer, you must notify the probation officer within 72 hours. You must not own, possess, or have access to a firearm, ammunition, destructive device, or dangerous weapon, i.e., anything that was designed or was modified for the specific purpose of causing bodily harm or bodily injury or death to another person, such as such as nunchucks or tasers. Okay, you must not act or make any agreement with a law enforcement agency to act as a confidential human source or informant without first getting the permission of the court. You must follow the instructions of the probation officer related to the conditions of supervision. I mean, it doesn't sound so bad. What do you all think? Uh, Let me see what y'all are talking about. Grant says, so he can't protect himself. That's what it says, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say special conditions. Okay, you must submit to a search of your person, property, residence, office, vehicle, papers, computers, as defined by 18 U.S.C. Statute 1030E1. Okay, cell phones and other devices or media use of electronics, communications, data storage, iCloud storage. So he has to be able to let them to search all of this. Yeah, now it's getting ugly. Now we're getting into murky waters. Okay, you must submit to a search of your person, property, residence, vehicle, office, other devices like cell phones, communications, electronic communications, storage, network storage. The probation officer may conduct a search under the condition only when there is a reasonable suspicion that you have violated a condition of your supervision or committed a new crime, and that the areas to be searched contain evidence of this violation or crime. The search must be conducted by a United States probation officer, although other law enforcement officers may assist the probation officer. The search must be conducted at a reasonable time and in a reasonable manner. So they shouldn't be showing up at your residence 2 and 3 in the morning, okay, knocking on doors, talking about they need to search. It has to be during a reasonable time and a reasonable manner. So failure to submit to a search may be grounds for revocation of release. I mean, they can put you right back in prison. Okay, so yeah, you better say yes. You must warn any other occupants that the premises may be subject to searches pursuant to this condition. So if there's anyone going to be residing with him, then he should tell them up front about this being a potential of something that could happen, because hey, it could be their stuff that is that is searched as well. Okay, if it's something that they share or whatever, like for example a refrigerator, okay, a cabinet in a bathroom. I'm just saying, if you live with people, there are certain things that you share. Okay, so anyway, um you must not have contact with the victims in this case. This includes any physical, visual, written, or telephonic contact with such persons. Additionally, you must not directly cause or engage or encourage anyone else to have such contact with the victim or victims. You must provide the probation officer with access to any requested financial information. Now, you must not incur new credit charges or open additional lines of credit without the approval of the probation officer unless you're in compliance with the installment payment schedule. Say what now? Do y'all hear this? Hold on, wait a minute. Say who? Now, they say, let me just read over this again because I don't want to miss anything. You must not incur new credit charges or open additional lines of credit without the approval of the probation officer unless you're in compliance with installment payment schedule. So mind you, he has a fine of $500,000, and then he has an installment payment, which is, when you're on, this isn't probation, it's supervised release, but it's done through the probation office. And so therefore, you would still have a probation officer. And so anytime you have a probation officer, honey, that's working for you or with you, you have to pay probation fees. So there's a fee that's going to be paid every month, I would imagine. And so that's likely what they're talking about when they say the installment payment schedule. Okay, because that 500,000, I don't think that's going to be in an installment schedule. That's probably going to be paid straight out up front. So you would participate in an outpatient treatment program approved by the United States Probation Office, which program may include testing to determine whether you have reverted to using drugs or alcohol. You must contribute to the cost of the services rendered based on your ability to pay and the availability of third-party payments. Okay, so this is all going to come out of his pocket, basically. The court authorizes the release of available drug treatment evaluations and reports, including the pre-sentence investigation report, to the substance use disorder treatment provider. You must participate in an outpatient mental health treatment program approved by this United States Probation Office, and you must continue to take any prescribed medications unless otherwise instructed by the healthcare provider. You must contribute to the cost of services rendered based on your ability to pay and the availability of third-party payments. The court authorizes the release of available psychological and psychiatric evaluations and reports, including the pre-sentence investigation report, to the healthcare provider. You must participate in an approved program for domestic violence. It is recommended that you be supervised by the district of residence. Okay? So wherever he lives, they want it to be in that district where he's supervised. Now the thing about this is, it really doesn't sound so bad. I mean, when you consider, now, did y'all hear what Young Thug had to go through? Now, mind you, that was probation in lieu of prison. So that was clearly much worse. That was clearly much worse. This is just supervised release to make sure that after you've done your stint, you're not getting into any more trouble or putting yourselves around people or around substances or things or situations that would lead you to going back to prison. Okay? So with that all being said, let me see. So anyway, he has to participate in something pertaining to a mental health program and all of that, and get domestic violence treatment. Now, the last part on here, they talk about the criminal monetary penalties. Okay, so let's get into that, because you have the defendant must pay the total criminal monetary penalties under the schedule of payments on sheet 6. Now, the assessment total is $200. There is no restitution, so he doesn't have to pay the victims, but there is, however, a fine of $500,000. Okay, I bet the government couldn't wait to get their paws on that. Okay, so that all been said, that $200, that's the fee that I was talking about. Okay, so when I tell you guys that you have to pay a probation fee, or if you're under supervised release, you have to pay a fee to a probation officer, that's what that $200 assessment is. Okay, and so it says, if the defendant makes a partial payment, each payee shall receive an approximately proportion payment unless specified otherwise in the priority order to percentage payment. Okay, I don't think that's applicable to him. There's no check mark by it. Okay, so anyway, now the only thing that's checked on here where it says schedule of payments at the bottom, Section F is checked, and it says special instructions regarding the payment of criminal monetary penalties. The fine must be paid in full no later than 60 days after the date of sentencing. Okay, so that's the $500,000. That $500,000 fine has to be paid in full no later than 60 days after the sentencing. And then the next thing they have checked at the bottom, it says the defendant shall forfeit the defendant's interest in the following property to the United States. All property used or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of the offenses charged in counts 3 and 5 of the indictment. Okay, the consent preliminary order of forfeiture money judgment dated October the 3rd of 2025 is included by reference in this judgment. Okay. So with that all being said, now let's get into what exactly is on this forfeiture list. Because that's what they're talking about. Let's get into that. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, here comes the forfeiture list. We're not going to go through this whole thing because it's long. Only thing we're going to go through over is a few things on here, but we definitely going to talk about those Ibiza tapes. Because I told y'all there were some tapes, honey. Where do y'all find out what these tapes are all about? At least what I think they're all about. Now, I can't prove it. I'm speculating, but, you know, I'm going to put some pieces together. Okay, so here we have consent preliminary order of forfeiture to specific property. Whereas on or about April the 3rd of 2025, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, and all of his other aliases, okay, the indictment, he had a charge with a 5-count superseding indictment. Okay, the indictment with racketeering, conspiracy, and violation of Title 18. Okay, we're going to skip past all that. We know the charges. Whereas the indictment included a forfeiture allegation as to, among other counts, count 3 and 5 of the indictment, seeking forfeiture to the United States. All right. And so here are the things. Okay, then they say, whereas on or about July the 2nd, 2025, following a jury trial, the defendant was found guilty of counts 3 and 5 of the indictment. Whereas the defendant consents to the forfeiture. He consents to this now, to the forfeiture of all of his rights, title, and interest in the following seized property set forth in Exhibit A, attached here to and incorporated by reference herein the specific property, which constitutes property used to or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of the offenses charged in counts 3 and 5 of the indictment. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all right now, the stuff they have on this list is nothing but a bunch of electronics. Let's just skim through it real quick, because I don't want to be here all day, and neither do you. Okay, so let's get into it. As you can see, this is signed by Jay Clayton, United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. All right, October the 2nd. And then Sean Combs, Diddy signed it himself, October the 3rd, so did Teeny Garagos. And then all of his other attorneys are listed as well. And then the judge signed it October the 3rd, same day. Now, here are the things that they want. I'm just going to read a few of them. They want the 4 Seagate hard drives that were seized from 200 South of Mapleton, Los Angeles, California on March the 25th. That's the day of the raid. Okay, the raids. Purple iPhone seized from the same residence. Okay, on the same day. So this is all of this stuff was seized during the day of the raid. All of this stuff, nothing but charcoal iPhone, black iPhone, HDSN, what is this? A portable SSD, iPhone in red case, thumb drive, SN, HDSN, miscellaneous flash drives. Okay, it's all a bunch of electronics. Gray Cricket phone. What's he doing with the Cricket phone? Apple MacBook, Apple iPad. Okay, all this stuff is just a bunch of phones and computers. NUC computer model, rose gold MacBook, black ThinkPad laptop. How many laptops do they have in phones? Black Jack Tower, Dell desktop, silver iMac, Lenovo desktop. But right here, hold on, digital watchdog and all of that. They got all this stuff that they want turned in. It's nothing but a whole bunch of just phones and stuff. And so these phones and flash drives and computers likely have pictures and videos and all sorts of things on them. Okay. And much of this stuff are things that they already confiscated. Now, you may be asking yourself, if these things were already confiscated, then why, oh, why would they want these things forfeited? Why is this on a list if they already, because if it was confiscated during the raids, it should already be in their possession, right? Well, because after the trial, I'm sure his attorneys started filing for him to get some of his property back, some of these items back, perhaps. Okay. So, but one of the things that they wanted out of all of this is number 77. And I want you all to please pay attention, because number 77 is, guess what? There it is. Sony DV cam video cassette tapes labeled Ibiza tapes seized from Two-Star Island, Miami Beach, okay, on or about March the 25th of 2024. Now, why do they want these tapes? Let's get into it, because I'm about to tell y'all why they want these darn tapes. Okay? I'm about to tell y'all why, at least I think they want those Ibiza tapes. So, back in 2014, August of, Diddy had a party in Ibiza. So let's talk about it. And somebody had posted, lock them all up, photos Diddy deleted of wild star-studded party in Ibiza revealed amid trial. So here's the thing. Diddy posted some pictures and then deleted them. Now, y'all know when you post something on the internet, it doesn't matter if you delete it, because somebody already got it and screenshot it or whatever. So he posted these pictures and then deleted them. That's one of the pictures right there. That was clearly at the party, but let's talk about it, because here's what they say. A series of photos showing Sean Diddy Combs posing with various celebrity friends has resurfaced just a day after the trial against the hip-hop mogul began. Trigger warning. That's when I first found out about these tapes. Of course, at the time, now I was wondering, did these tapes have anything to do with the tapes that Ariel Mitchell Light said that she saw? Was it any type of those tapes? And I said, we'll wait and see if they mention it in the trial. But anyway, here's what they say. Trigger warning, assault, crime. The images show Combs with various A-listers at a party in August of 2014 in Ibiza, Spain, celebrating Givenchy designer Riccardo Tisi's 40th birthday. Now, the photos were reportedly deleted from social media shortly after the rapper posted them. Among the stars who attended the event were Combs and his then-girlfriend singer Cassie Ventura, as well as Kanye, Kim Kardashian, and a 20-year-old Justin Bieber. This was in 2014. Now, there were plenty of stars there. This is Riccardo Tisci. Okay, that's him, Riccardo Tisci, the CEO of Givenchy and Burberry. Yeah, right. That's him. That's him with Naomi Campbell. Naomi's also in this picture right here. There's Kanye and Kim. I can't tell who that is. There's Cassie, Diddy. I can't see who that is. And this is Kate Moss. Kate Moss looks like she's passed out. Okay. She looks like she's passed out. Look where her hand is. Okay, so they look like they had a good time. But what's also interesting about Riccardo is he is really good friends with Marina Abramovich, the spirit cooking lady that I told you all about that was in Jay-Z's Picasso video. Remember I showed you? And I told you how when she put her head up to Jay-Z's, she was harvesting the energy from him, from his melanin. Yeah, they must be real good friends. They're all in the bed together, honey, is all I'm saying. But so anyway, more pictures from the party. There's Justin. He was 20 years old. All right. There's him and Diddy. There's Kate Moss and Naomi. Now, with that all being said, you all are probably asking yourselves, what's this all mean about these tapes? Well, don't worry. I'm going to tell you in just a second. I'm just beating around the bush, so to speak, to get through this article. Then I'll give you my thoughts. Now, models Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, and Kendall Jenner were also present at the party, along with Kendall's mother, Kris Jenner, and Paris Hilton. Now, word on the curb is Kris Jenner supposedly met her boyfriend, Corey Gamble, at this party. Okay, who was already good friends with Diddy and Kim, as I told you all years ago. Okay. In fact, I think he used to keep their kids at some points. I don't know why they had Corey Gamble keeping their kids if they actually did, but that was one of the things that was said. Now, Combs was charged with trafficking by force and racketeering in September of 2024. And of course, he pleaded not guilty. Okay, so with that all being said, hold on. I want to show you all some of these pictures. I want to show you all some of the pictures on here. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. So now let me tell you all what's so interesting. Let me tell you all what I find so interesting. See, remember I told you all, okay? So now here's the thing, beloveds. If you remember, I told you all that, like I said, I thought those tapes, there were some tapes that Diddy had in his possession that could have some incriminating evidence on there, right? Some incriminating evidence on there. Now, of course, I didn't know this for a fact, but that's what I was thinking. But guess what? Come to find out, I think I'm right. I think I'm right, beloveds. I think I'm right. And I think that that's why the police want the tapes. Because you know what? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. Here it is. Listen to this. Fashion designer Ricardo Tisci accused of rugging and assaulting a New York man in a legal complaint. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all back in 2023? Now, I would pull up some of the videos where I said all this, but who has the time for that? Y'all remember? Did y'all hear this? Ooh, honey, this is all nefarious. Leon said, Queen, always on point. Thank you, beloved. Do y'all hear this? Ha! Measure Manson, I know you effing lying. No, I'm not. You can't make it up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This is all very interesting. We're going to get into it. And what's even more interesting is this. If he has anything incriminating, and by he, I mean Ricardo Tisci, if he has anything incriminating on there, I wonder who else does. I wonder who else does. And I find it interesting that Tisa Tales hadn't found this and dug it up, especially because this article came from her friends over at the Hollywood Reporter. I'm sure she'll copy it once she finds out. But let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share, because we're about to dig deep into it. All right. Fashion designer Ricardo Tisci accused of rugging as assaulting New York man in legal complaint. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Now, who else is going to be on some of those tapes? I guess we'll stay tuned. And here's the thing. How you'll be able to know how you'll be able to know when Tisa copies this is because what do I always tell you all that she never does? She never reports on Caucasian men who are accused of assault like Diddy. She only reports on the black men. Never seen her report on a white one. But let me continue. Now, I did see her talking about that DJ over there in the UK, but that's because he was linked to Diddy, okay? But anyway, with that all being said, Italian fashion designer Ricardo Tisci has been accused of rugging and assaulting a New York man. Now, in an 11-page legal complaint filed in the New York Supreme Court on Tuesday. Now, mind you, this was filed while Diddy was on trial. This was filed in May of 2025, just a few months ago. An 11-page legal complaint filed in the New York Supreme Court on Tuesday, first reported by The Independent. Patrick Cooper claims that Tisci discreetly put a rug in his drink when he wasn't looking after he met at the Two Sisters, Four Brothers restaurant and lounge in East Harlem on June the 29th of 2024. That's why they want those Ibiza tapes. Okay. Once Cooper became disoriented, confused, impaired, intoxicated, unaware of his actions and his surroundings, and unable to comprehend what was going on, the complaint states that Teachy allegedly brought him back to his home and prevented him from leaving and assaulted him. I think there may be an underground network of people in Hollywood and the music industry that do certain things like that. Because we've heard this for years. We've heard about the humiliation rituals and all of this. Now, Diddy had to go through his humiliation ritual in front of the world globally. That was called his trial. Okay, that's what that was. They gave Diddy a humiliation ritual after he sued Diageo. Okay, that's why they put him on trial and brought all of his sexcapades out there for the world to see, in case y'all missed it or hadn't figured that out yet. But I think I told you that before. Okay, so anyway, here's what they say. Cooper claims that he was not conscious during the S assault and only realized what had happened when he woke up next to Teachy naked. As a result of the rugs given to plaintiff by the defendant, plaintiff was unable to reject, fight, stop, or defend himself from defendant's predatory, sexual, and unlawful assault and battery of the plaintiff. In response, a spokesman for Teachy said in a statement obtained by the Hollywood Reporter, these allegations are categorically untrue. Ricardo looks forward to clearing his name of these false and malicious accusations. He will obtain vindication through due process. Oh, I just thought about crazy Diddy haven't snitched on nobody. Well, that's the thing. He didn't snitch on anybody. He didn't take any deals or anything, beloved. You're absolutely right. That's what he didn't do. And, that speaks volumes. Because with what he was facing a life sentence if he'd been convicted of the RICO and the S trafficking. And do you know how many people that say they're from the streets who would have coughed up all kinds of names, social security numbers, birth dates, residential addresses, and anything else they had to, just to avoid being in that predicament? Okay, they would have told on anybody and everybody. Plenty of people would. Okay, some of your hardcore thugs out there in these streets that you think are so down by law and who stand 10 toes down. They'll be the main ones singing like mockingbirds. But let me continue. So anyway, in response, a spokesman for Teachy said in a statement obtained by the Hollywood Reporter, these allegations are categorically untrue. Ricardo looks forward to clearing his name of these false and malicious accusations. He will obtain vindication through due process. Ooh, honey. So, as luck would have it, I also have the legal report, i.e. the lawsuit. Let's pull that up real quick. Dorada said birthmarks too, Queen. You got that right. Okay. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Are y'all listening? See, this is the thing. You have to be paying attention to stuff. Some people don't really pay attention because that list with all the stuff that Diddy had to give, all the stuff that's on the forfeiture list, some people probably didn't even notice that it had anything on there about the Ibiza tapes. Because some people, when they saw all that stuff was repetitive and basically saying the same thing, they probably felt like, oh, okay, yeah, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. What the hell am I doing? Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to find my darn my right watermark. Did I delete it or something? Okay, anyway, that's good enough. So anyway, let's look over this briefly. We're not going to go through the whole thing. Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York, Patrick Cooper versus Ricardo Teachy. You are hereby summoned to answer the complaint in this action and to serve a copy of your answer, or if the complaint is not served with this summons, to serve a notice of appearance on the plaintiff's attorney within 20 days after the service of this summons, exclusive of the day of service, or within 30 days after the service is complete, if this summons is not personally delivered to you within the state of New York. And in case of your failure to appear to or answer, judgment will be taken against you by default for the relief demanded in the complaint. That was dated April 29th of 2024. Okay. Statement of facts. On or about June 29th of 2024, plaintiff and defendant were at Two Sisters and Four Brothers Restaurant and Lounge. Now, goes on to say, and it lists the address. It says plaintiff and defendant did not know each other prior to June 29th of 2024. On this date, on said date, defendant approached plaintiff and started a conversation with him. Now, during the conversation, hold on. During the conversation and ensuing conversations, defendant upon information and belief tampered with plaintiff's drink, whereby he discreetly put a rug into plaintiff's drink when he was not looking. Defendant did not offer rugs to plaintiff. Plaintiff did not accept rugs from defendant. Now, defendant did not inform plaintiff. Hold on, beloveds. I'm trying to fix my glasses. Okay, defendant did not inform plaintiff that he was placing a rug in his drink. Plaintiff did not give his consent, either expressed or implied, to defendant to put a rug in his drink. Here's the question. How's he going to prove it? How's he going to prove it? I wonder if he got a toxicology report, if he went to the hospital, because I certainly would have. So anyway, goes on to say, plaintiff did not give his consent, either expressed or implied, to do rugs with defendant. Plaintiff was not aware the defendant put the rug in his drink at or around the time defendant did so, and upon information and belief, defendant knowingly placed the rugs into plaintiff's drink with the intent to impair plaintiff and or his judgment. Okay, he talks about becoming disoriented, being confused. He said that he consumed the aforesaid rug-infused drink, became disoriented, confused, impaired, intoxicated, unaware of his actions and surroundings, and unable to comprehend what was going on for the duration of the rug's effect on the plaintiff. Okay, so then it says plaintiff was not aware that he consumed the rug that the defendant put in his drink. Upon information and belief, once the rug took effect on plaintiff, defendant brought plaintiff back to defendant's home, where defendant prevented plaintiff from leaving and assaulted him. Excuse me. When plaintiff woke up, he found himself naked with defendant also naked next to him. Now, at the time of the aforesaid assault, plaintiff lacked the capacity to consent. Upon information and belief at the time of the aforesaid assault, plaintiff was not conscious, and as a result of the rugs given to plaintiff by defendant, plaintiff was unable to reject, fight, stop, defend himself from plaintiff or from defendant's predatory, sexual, and unlawful assault and battery of plaintiff. As a direct and proximate result of the aforesaid acts by defendant, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain for an indefinite period of time physical, psychological, and emotional injuries. Plaintiff repeats, reiterates, and realleges each and every allegation contained in preceding paragraphs of the complaint, inclusive with the same force and effect as if hereafter set forth at length. Plaintiff's non-consensual tampering with plaintiff's drink caused plaintiff to experience fear and imminent and reasonable apprehension of harmful and offensive contact to his person. All right, so y'all see this. Y'all see this, and what does he want? He wants money, monetary compensation for damages occurred. All right? Goes on to say that this is a crime of violence motivated by gender, committed because of gender or on the basis of gender, and due, at least in part, to an animus based on plaintiff's gender. As set forth above, defendant's conduct complained of herein violated the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, New York City Administrative Code, and all of that, the limitations of liability. Okay, so plaintiff demands judgment against the defendant for compensatory and punitive damages in a sum exceeding the jurisdictional limits of all lower courts, which would otherwise have jurisdiction of this matter, together with attorney's fees and cost, any and all further relief that this court deems just and proper. All right, so what do y'all have to say about it, honey? This is all crazy. This is all crazy. Natasha said, did he go to the police? He didn't say anything about the police, beloved. And I'm willing to bet you a dollar to a dime that he didn't go to the police, because if he did, there would likely have been a police report included in here. And if he had gone to the police, he likely also would have gone to the hospital and gotten that toxicology report. Okay? Now, if any of you in the future ever have any sort of assault, I should hope not, but if you ever do, please make sure you do your due diligence. Okay, you don't want to set yourself up for failure, do you? Make sure that you go and take out a police report right away, and that you go and get a test done. A toxicology report, especially if you think that somebody put something in your drink or whatever, and then get a kit done, one of those kits. Okay? That's very important that you do those things, because there's a lot of predators out here. It's getting real scary, folks. Hell, it's not getting real scary. It's been real scary. It's only getting worse. So anyway, that's it for now. Y'all heard that? I find it all so interesting. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about it, honey? Okay. Um, before we roll out of here, hold on. Nicole says, what I have to say is Diddy can't drop the soap inside or out. His life is forever monitored. Yeah, it is. DJ Big Six talking about keep your head on the swivel. DJ Big Six, you keep your head on the swivel, beloved. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. All right. I didn't forget that little didn't me and you get into it the other day? You just ticked me off just the other day, DJ Big Six. Nicole said, Queen, you broke it down as usual. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay. Whew, honey, this is hard work. Actually, I'm lying. It's not. I love it. Okay. So I love doing research. So anyway, with that all being said, so now we have Diddy's terms and conditions of his supervised release. We know that it'll be 5 years. We know what he can and can't do, what he has to do. And we also know what is on the forfeiture list. And now we have also pieced it together with a bit of intrigue and found out exactly why, or at least we think we know why they want those Ibiza tapes. Okay. So I'm just saying, keep your eyes peeled for anyone else that's in Diddy's circle or used to be in Diddy's circle going down or getting some accusations against them, because those tapes are there. All right. And here's the thing. Even though they already had those tapes in their possession since March the 25th of 2024, when they conducted the raids on Diddy's residences, they never said anything about what was on those tapes. They never said anything about what was on those tapes until, but now after the trial, you know what? It's really interesting because, like I said, this lawsuit against Mr. Tichy came out in May the 2nd of 2025, while Diddy was on trial. Don't y'all find that interesting? The timing of it all? Y'all find that interesting? Because I do. This man got accused of assault and rugging somebody in May. Diddy's houses were raided, his residences, March, the end of March. And then Diddy, his they started choosing the jurors May the 5th. And this man got in trouble May the 2nd. And yeah, I find the timing of it all very interesting. Some people might want to keep their fingers crossed and hope that there's nothing shady about them on any of the tapes. Okay, or any of those flash drives or anything, honey, because they want all the flash drives, all the computers, all the laptops, iPads, and all of that, honey. Okay. Nicole said, we love the Queen. Thank you. And the Queen loves you all right, Black. Thank you for your kind words and your contributions to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so we're about to be out of here. Oh, I almost forgot. So before we leave, hold on. Let me find my receipts. There was one more thing I wanted to tell you all. Hold on, let me find it. Lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Is this it? I think this is it. Yes, this is it. Okay, so now it's time for our segments of One Moment in Crime. Let's talk about it. Now, this nefarious devil here murdered a college student some years ago, and now the state's going to execute him. Let's get into it, and then we're out. This is him right here. Mississippi is set to execute a man convicted of raping and killing a college student. All right, that's him right there. He's the culprit. All right, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So, a Mississippi man convicted of kidnapping, raping, and killing a 20-year-old community college student is set to be executed Wednesday evening at the Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman. Ooh, that's a terrible prison. Parchman, Mississippi prison. Y'all know I've reported on that. That prison is for the, it's not, it shouldn't be for humans, okay? But anywho, this execution, dang, today is Wednesday. He's probably already dead by now. Well, anywho, goes on to say that a Mississippi man convicted of kidnapping, raping, and killing a 20-year-old college student is set to be executed. Now, Charles Crawford, 59 years old, has been on death row for more than 30 years. So he did this when he was 29. What a way to throw your life away, okay? He's been in prison more than he was free. He went to prison when he was 29 because he's 59 now and he's been in prison 30 years. He did more time in prison than free. But anyway, the scheduled lethal injection comes several months after the execution of Mississippi's longest serving death row inmate in a year of increasing executions nationwide. Crawford was convicted of abducting Christy Ray. And yeah, he abducted this beautiful young lady. Desmond said, I'm just enjoying the broadcast, eating my indies. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Let me see if I have a picture of this young lady, because I could have sworn I did. I guess I didn't upload it. But anywho, goes on to say that Crawford was convicted of abducting Christy Ray from her parents' home in northern Mississippi's Tippah County on January the 29th of 1993. According to court records, when Ray's mother came home, her daughter's car was gone and a handwritten ransom note had been left on the table. So the same day, a different ransom note made from magazine cutouts and concerning a woman named Jennifer was found in the attic of Crawford's former father-in-law. Okay, now the note was turned over to law enforcement who began searching for Crawford. Now, this is how he got caught. You see how, you see how God doesn't like ugly. Now, he was sitting up here plotting to kidnap and abduct somebody by the name of Jennifer that same day. And he was using cutouts. That's what they used to do back in the day. Some of you all may not know that. But I remember in college, I used to see, when I would be doing my little research and stuff, I would see these predators like Ted Bundy, or not even Ted Bundy, but just some of these serial killers. They would be using magazine cutouts, I guess, so they couldn't track the handwriting and whatnot, to send out these little notes and stuff. So this fool got caught because he made a ransom note earlier at somebody else's house and left it there. How dumb could you be? You'd have to be pretty dumb. So anyway, they found it and they turned it over to law enforcement, who then started searching for him. He was arrested a day later and said he was returning from a hunting trip. Unlikely story. He later told authorities that he blacked out and did not recall killing Ray. At the time of his arrest, Crawford was days away from going to trial on a whole separate assault charge that stemmed from an attack in 1991, just 2 years prior, okay, in which Crawford was accused of raping a 17-year-old girl and hitting her friend with a hammer. Thank God they got this man out the streets. He was a whole devil. And here's a pretty young lady that he killed. May she rest in peace. Beautiful young lady. 20 years old and in college, had her whole life ahead of her. That's so damn sad. Now he wants to sit up there. He's finally going to the electric chair or lethal injection, death row, 30 years later. Okay? 30 whole years later. I don't know why they let these people keep appealing and appealing and appealing. But anyway, I guess in some cases it's good because some of these people are actually innocent, according to DNA testing. So anyway, that all being said, He raped somebody that was 17 and then hit their friend in the hip with a hammer and then kidnaps this poor young lady and kills her. Now, despite his assertions that he had experienced blackouts and did not remember committing either the rape or the hammer attack, Crawford was found guilty of both charges in 2 separate trials. Here's the problem I have with this. After he did what he did, why was he even out on bail to commit this crime? He hadn't gone to trial for the 1991 attack and rape. Why was he out? He should not have been given a bail. He should not have been given a bail. You see how this world works, how the judicial system works for the favor of some people? Now, that judge wouldn't give Diddy a bail, but this devil got one, and look what he did. Look at what he did. This is a darn shame. This could have all been prevented. Anyway, goes on to say that he was found guilty of both charges in 2 separate trials. Now, his prior rape conviction was considered an aggravating circumstance by jurors in Crawford's capital murder trial for Ray's killing, paving the way for his death sentence. Okay, over the past 3 decades, Crawford has tried unsuccessfully to overturn his death sentence. I don't know why he would think that. Some people have wishful thinking. They must be delusional. Why would he think that they're going to overturn his death sentence when they got him hook, line, and sinker? We know you did it. The proof was there. It was right in the pudding. Not to mention what you did beforehand. Anywho, goes on to say his lawyers are currently appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing that Crawford should be granted a new trial because of his Sixth Amendment rights were violated in his 1994 trial. Honey, he violated the rights of the people that he did these things to. Okay, the appeal alleges that Crawford's lawyers admitted his guilt in the capital murder and the trial and pursued an insanity defense. And despite Crawford's repeated objections, the argument relies on a 2018 Supreme Court ruling which ordered a new trial for a death row inmate and established that a lawyer for a criminal defendant cannot override a client's wish to maintain innocence at a trial. It's almost like he didn't even get the chance to have innocent or guilty matter because his attorneys just overrode his wishes from the onset. This is what Chrissy Noble, the director of the Mississippi Office of Capital Post-Conviction Relief, who represents Crawford, said. Well, I mean, that does sound problematic. I don't know why his lawyers would have done that. You're not supposed to. If he said he didn't want to go ahead and admit guilt, they clearly weren't supposed to do that. But, too late now. So the Mississippi Supreme Court dismissed the argument in September, writing that Crawford should have brought the appeal sooner. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's too late. And did not present adequate reasoning why the 2018 Supreme Court ruling should be retroactive. Now, after the Mississippi Supreme Court set his execution date in September, Noble said Crawford expressed both disappointment and resolution. What do y'all have to say about it all? What do y'all have to say about it all? Leon said they let him get old. That's what they usually do. They usually have these people in here for so long because they keep appealing their case. And, the appeals process, they keep appealing over and over and over, beloved. And filing habeas corpus motions and all that. As if they're being held wrongly, whatnot. So anyway, goes on to say he has a very deep faith in God and he trusts in God, Noble said. He wants to be the best person he can be with the time he has left. Well, he doesn't have any time left, okay? Unfortunately for him. This is all crazy. Listen, you killed somebody, you raped somebody. I'm sorry. It's some of these things you just can't go back on. Some of these things there's just no coming back from, sir. Okay? Don't try to bring God into it. You should have been talking to God when the demons in your head were telling you to go out there and rape and kill people, sir. You should have been calling crying for God then. Talk about he trusts God. Well, God don't trust you, apparently. Okay, so anyway, Noble characterized Crawford as a respected, uplifting presence on death row. See what? Do you all hear this? Do you all hear this? No, I know they're lying. Do y'all hear this? Somebody say it ain't so. Y'all hear this crap? She said he is known as a respected, uplifting presence on death row. First of all, I'm sorry. Everybody on death row is a whole killer. So to say that He's giving respect. It's not saying much. Okay, and an uplifting presence. Get out of here. Okay, anyway, the Associated Press made multiple attempts to contact Ray's relatives, but did not receive a response. That's because I don't give a damn. Crawford also did not return requests for comment. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, well. What do y'all have to say about it? She also said that he works inside the prison and advocates for other inmates who may be struggling with mental health or need medical attention. You know what? I shouldn't be low down and dirty because that's what I'm being. I should not be sitting up for being low down and dirty. This poor man, maybe he has changed his life. Maybe he has changed his life. Maybe he's asked God to forgive him and repented of his sins. Okay, maybe he has, honey. Who am I to judge? This is all crazy. This is all crazy. I should be sitting up here laughing at this poor man, honey. At the end of the day, maybe he has turned his life around. I mean, it is 30 years later. Let me tell you all something, though. Seriously, one of the things, Carolyn Bryant, 88, okay? One of the things, let me see if they killed this poor man already. Hold on. Mm, mm, mm. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Last meal. Here it is. The last meal was 4 hours ago. Damn. They already killed him, y'all. I was going to say a prayer at least. This is nothing to laugh at, for real. I shouldn't be laughing at this man. Lord, forgive me. I should not be laughing at this man at the end of the day. Okay? I should not be laughing at this man, honey. This man is gone on to glory. Coco said, Queen, I left out and cried and tried to come back. Hold on, I left out and tried to come back, and YouTube did not want to let me back in for 10 minutes straight. I turned my phone off and everything, and then they finally let me back, but I couldn't open chat. Are you serious? Honey, you need to complain to them about that. Send them an email. When they do stuff like that, you all need to email them. I can't do it by myself, honey. When I sit there and file grievances or complain about stuff they're doing to you guys, at the end of the day, they tell me to have y'all reach out or whatever. Y'all got to start complaining. And that was low down and dirty. Had you out for 10 minutes and then wouldn't even let you open the chat, honey. Where they do that at? Clearly YouTube. Okay. Sorry, beloved. Okay, so anyway, let's go to this news report. They already have taken the man's life. Christopher said they did it to him too. Isn't that something? Darn shame. YouTube is low down and dirty, honey.
Back a little more than a week after Charles Crawford filed an emergency petition to block his execution in the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the state refutes Crawford's claims, saying that the defendant has refused the process he was due and his punishment is just. They also argued his execution will be constitutional. The state also claims Crawford only brought up the claim in a last-ditch effort to block his execution years after the case he cites was handed down. Crawford's execution is still set for October 15th.
Hello, South Mississippi. This is David with J.
Y'all heard it, right? Y'all heard that? Well, hold on. It says 59-year-old Charles Crawford is currently slated to be put to death by lethal injection at the Mississippi State Penitentiary, October the 15th. Tentative time, 6 p.m. Crawford is one of 7 inmates scheduled to be executed in October. 7 inmates scheduled to be executed. Did y'all hear this? Well, U.S. Supreme declines. This is from 3 hours ago. U.S. Supreme Court declines to hear petition to halt execution of Charles Ray Crawford. It was set to start at 6 Still doesn't say whether or not it happened yet. In a 5-page response by the state, Special Assistant Attorney General LaDonna Holland, that's a black lady, I can tell you right now. Anybody named LaDonna, it's definitely black. Okay, called the petition a last-minute attempt to delay the execution of Crawford's lawful death sentence. Crawford's distorted narrative is baseless, and his allegations that the state has changed position or conceded error are false, she says. To be clear, the state has not reversed course, and its position has remained the same at all junctures of this litigation. McCoy is not an intervening decision under the Uniform Post-Conviction Collateral Relief Act, so Crawford's third petition for post-conviction relief is barred. 8 Mississippi Supreme Court justices denied Crawford's petition, with one justice listed as not participating. Soon after the Supreme Court of the United States denied a petition for a writ of certiorari and for a stay of execution, Crawford's attorneys filed October the 1st. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to review Crawford's case, effectively allowing the state to proceed with the execution. Crawford has been on death row for more than 30 years and has spent decades unsuccessfully petitioning to overturn his death sentence. Pleas from death penalty opponents and the Catholic diocese of Jackson for leaders to stop Crawford's execution were unheeded. Crawford's execution is the second this year in Mississippi. So, what do you all think? Do you all think this man should be executed? Do you all think that this man should be executed? Once in the chat if you think he should be executed. He's probably already dead by now. We're just asking just to be seeing what y'all think. Do y'all think he should be executed or not? Some of you all may not believe. Some of you may not believe in capital punishment. So most of you guys are putting yeses. Okay. Well, Lillian talking about for sure. Y'all are low down and nefarious. Y'all are so low down. Okay? Y'all are low down. Well, you got your wish, because I'm pretty sure the man's gone by now. Okay, so hopefully he got to talk to the diocese. Okay, some bishop or somebody came in there and prayed over him before they took him out. All right. Christopher said a life for a life. Reggie said, I'm thinking of George Floyd. Reggie, don't use George Floyd to justify your nefarious behavior. What does George Floyd have to do with that man kidnapping and Christy Ray? Okay. Oh, I get what you're saying, Reggie. I get it. Dion said people will believe in capital punishment only if their family members are the victims. Right. Right. Okay. You're right, Dion. Here's the thing. Now, do you all remember how I told you that when I was in college, I did my whole capstone review in front of a board of professors going totally against and hard in the paint, okay, against capital punishment. All right? I'm really not for it. I'm really not for it because it's disproportionately affects Black people and poor people who cannot afford adequate legal counsel. Okay? That's how that works. Just like with Diddy's terms and conditions of supervised release, how they're saying he has to pay $200 a month, how they're saying that he has to pay for some of the things he's going to need, like with his treatments, with the rug program, with the mental health stuff and all of that, and he's going to have to pay for these things. What if it were somebody, just a regular person who didn't have money to pay for those things? Are they supposed to just be sent back to prison because they're broke or because they can't afford certain things? What if they can't, $200 a month with all your other bills and paying other things? That's probably a lot for some people. So, just think about those type of things. But this man on death row, listen, here's how I feel about death row. One of the biggest problems I have with it is the fact that innocent people, because we don't have a judicial system that is error proof. There are, in fact, errors that happen within the judicial system. So there's always the chance or the risk of somebody innocent being executed, which I absolutely believe to have been the case in the situation with Troy Anthony Davis. I do not think that man did it. Many people didn't think that he did. There was other evidence that came out years later, but they still took his life. And the family of the victim that he was accused of killing, they wanted him to still die, even though other evidence came out to show that he was not the killer. But you know what that proved to me? That proved to me that people who don't look like me, when something happens to somebody that they love and somebody who looks like me is accused of it, even if you're not the right person, it doesn't matter. As long as a person who looks like you takes the fall. Sometimes that's fair enough for them. I want you all to really think about that. Let's talk about Liam Neeson, the actor. Do you all remember that time when he said that his friend told him that she had been raped or something like that by a black person? And he said he was so mad he took a baseball bat or something and he went out in the streets looking for a black person to attack. Why in the hell would you want to attack some random black person who didn't have anything to do with it? But that's what he said. You see, that's how a lot of them think. They don't care if it's the right black person, as long as it's a black person. Just like when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, they didn't give a damn if it wasn't a black person. They still wanted black people to pay. That's why you have black people swinging from trees. You ever think about how when there is a crime committed, something heinous done by one black person, they want to put that over all black people? Oh, they're so violent. Oh, they act like animals. Oh, they're thugs. They act like it's all of us, even though one black person could have acted a whole fool, but they want to look at all of us as if we all have the capability of doing such things. But when it's them, what do they love to say? It's a lone wolf. You know what they say about these nefarious mass shooters? I just want you all to think about some of these things. Anyway, that's your moment, one moment in crime. I'm about to conclude the broadcast. Listen, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this night. I hope you got something out of the broadcast. And just always remember that the queen, I'll be on point when I start connecting the dots and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I told y'all about those videotapes Diddy had. With that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And I will see you all in the morning with your morning wake-up call. Until then, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got